Welcome to another episode of Pivot and Profit podcast by the K Financial and Pace Productions, where we speak, where we speak to the decision makers, to the movers and shakers in Africa's market, business, economic frontier. We try to bring you the people that are making the decisions or who are trying to bring about change in this new journey of economic liberation. For the continent, as always, I'm Arnold Quizera, and today's guest, he's new. He's in a new industry, but has been in this industry for more than a decade. He's trying to make things work. He's trying to help us grow our capital markets. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the CEO of the Capital Markets Authority of Rwanda, CMA, Mr. Thapelo Tsheole, aka TT. Thank you for making the time and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Happy New Year, man.
Happy New Year. If it's not late.
And no, you can't believe it. I say this until like June.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
To me, because that's when I keep seeing people.
Yeah.
There are people I'm going to see for the first time
Yeah.
in like May, April. I will still tell them Happy New Year.
Yeah.
How's it been so far? How has been the settling in?
No, the settling in have been fine generally. I managed to just settle in as quickly as I can so that I can hit the ground running also as quickly as I can.
I know, because you're a man on the clock, right? First of all, you keep time. Kudos to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found you set the targets. You set yourself a target of about 3 years, and we're going to dive into that a little bit later on. And which to me feels like it's tomorrow, right? 2028 is tomorrow,
Yes.
right? But I want to talk about this move. You come from the Botswana Stock Exchange, BSE. You're now Capital Markets Authority of Rwanda.
Yes.
Very virgin, new sector, industry, more or less.
Yeah.
How does that come about? Who makes the call and says, hey, Titi, Kigali, let's go?
Yeah. I think it was sometimes last year, mid around July, when I got an inbox from a British-based headhunting recruitment agency.
Okay.
To say, hey, we looked at your profile. There's an opportunity in East Africa. We want to know if you are interested. At first, I didn't actually respond there.
I thought it was a scammer?
Yes. I thought it was a scammer. And I also looked at all the markets in East Africa and I'm like, really, which countries? And I started looking at other countries. Then I didn't respond. And then after some time, I think the email came and then I just gave them my number and then we started calling, discussing. They didn't disclose the names. So it's then that, because I was also having a good time in Botswana. I mean, it was 2023, which is the best year ever in the history of Botswana Stock Exchange in terms of performance. But, I'd been there for 8 years and I felt like, maybe it's good to also move internationally and test my skills and also to make a contribution. But then we end up engaging, and then it was only revealed that the country is Rwanda. I think after 3 or so engagement, and then an interview was set with about 2 ministers. First with Minister of Finance, then it was Minister Ozil. Yeah, Ozil and Minister Tusabe, Richard, and then yes, so they set up the interview. So that's when I got to learn the seriousness of the offer. And then of course, we did interviews and then we did psychometric test. The first offer came. And then I was like, okay, no.
Psychometric test?
Yeah.
Do you really believe in them?
Not really, but, I did them and I passed them. So, okay. Yeah, so I was fine. And I also don't mind doing them. So, and then initially I said, no, I'm not too sure whether I want to move towards the end of the year of 2023, especially because of the fantastic performance we had at Botswana Stock Exchange there. So I just stayed until 24th December when we had a sort of preliminary agreement in 2023. And then I said, okay, give me time to enjoy my festive. Then I'll come back to you.
Okay, December, boss.
Yes. And then I only accepted the offer after consultation with the with the president of my country in Botswana, then to say, I've contributed and I want your blessing to go outside the country. And it have got nothing to do with anything else but my career move. And then he agreed. He asked me the country, and then he agreed. And then I usually resigned, and I came to Rwanda Capital Markets.
It's interesting. I want to first go back into your BSE journey, right, on the Botswana Stock Exchange, or BOTS, as we love to call it there.
Yeah.
You were there for ages.
Yes.
You led BSE to grow market cap wise 30 to 60 billion. That's
Yes.
100% growth.
Yes.
Over that period of time.
Yes.
How did you grow? Because when people view a country like BOTS, it's a very small country.
Yeah.
Investment wise, it's also a small country. But having a stock market that is worth, has a market cap of $60 billion,
Yes,
is no easy feat.
Yeah.
What was that journey like?
Yeah, I think apart from the fact that myself and my team, or my team and I, were able to graft proper strategies to propel the BSE to what it is today, or what it was then, we were able to also identify stakeholders that are going to help us to grow the market, and also to be ambitious as an organization. We took the ambition. We also took an open view in terms of we're not only to be looking at Botswana, we're also going to be looking at Africa. We managed to make a lot of big wins against competition of other markets in Africa.
Well, what's that one that stands out for you and you're like, you know what, in this particular time we're trying to list company XYZ that could have gone elsewhere, and
we listed the $500 million bond from a company in Zambia. And, that company just told us, they looked at the market, they looked at Johannesburg, a big exchange, they looked at Mauritius, they looked at Nigeria, but they chose Botswana. Mainly because of what we are doing, and mainly because how we're able to position ourselves. It was a big win for us. Not only that one, there's an Africa Bond Fund that is also listed in Mauritius. We managed to bring it to Botswana.
To price list?
To also list in Botswana. They had an option to go and list in Johannesburg or list in Nigeria, but we managed to list in Botswana. So those are some of the wins which I consider big that we are able to do.
Well, what stood out for these companies to say, hey, BSE over JSE?
I think is the way we positioned the BSE. We're small but very efficient also. We also had a clear view, or Africa view, and also a view, a world view in terms of attracting international investors into our market. Significant inflows of international investors in our market, to make sure that our processes are efficient and effective, and also to make sure that our presence is also felt in the international and in Africa stage. Basically, strategically positioning the BSE. So it worked for us, and it continues to work for the BSE.
You talk about small and efficient, right? And that makes me feel like it's a hand glove situation. You move to Kigali, in regards to what we're trying to do here, or what the country is trying to do, or what it strives to be, right? Small and efficient. You come to the Capital Markets Authority of Rwanda. It's a very different ballgame. What has been that adaptation like? What are the things you're like, okay, cool, damn, I think we could move differently here, or what would have been those culture shocks so far?
Yeah, I think the capital markets are very small here. They are very small, and they still have a way to go. I don't want to say a long way, because we can make quick wins if we all work as a team in terms of the Ministry of Finance, in terms of the capital markets participants. The skills gap in the market, it's there. It's not according to me. Even the financial sector skills survey which was done revealed the skills that are needed in the country. It's very important. And for any capital markets to actually grow, be it in Mauritius, be it even in Botswana, be it in Singapore, you also need to be acceptable to the fact that you also need to import skill.
Sure.
And when the skill is here, you need to be acceptable to the fact that, the foreigners are here and I just have to work with them, despite the fact that these people are coming from outside the country, because they are here to help. They are here to add to the growth of the capital markets. And every assistance should actually be channeled in helping somebody who is an expertise, who is from outside, who is here to help. I mean, look,
It's not competition, I think. It's more of like, let's work together, a unison, Pan-African spirit. Because what we're building is not only for one country, we're building for the continent.
Yes, that's true. And look, I'll be honest with you. I had two offers that I looked at before I came to Rwanda. I had a company in the UK. I had a company in Rwanda. I had CMA in Rwanda.
Yeah.
And the fact that I chose Rwanda, despite the UK, it also speaks volume, because I saw it as a very ambitious country which want to move at speed. And therefore, I think the understanding of capital markets, although still very low, we are doing all what we can to actually try as much as possible to grow and to impact some level of understanding with those in power and those in authority and also those in stakeholders.
One of the major challenges has been, the lack of information flow, right? Capital markets. And it's hard to find, young people understanding stock here on our continent. Well, you'll talk to your young cousin who has just left high school and she's going into varsity or college in the Western world. They're already using apps like Robinhood, right? So they're already trading or putting money away on S&P 500, Nasdaq, somewhere. They're looking at stocks. They're looking at graphs. It's like a whole different generational shift, right? What does it take for us to get there?
Yeah, we've put together a strategy for capital markets development at CMA level. The first thing that you need, you need to crawl before you can start jumping or
walking.
Yeah, so you need to put, without failure, the right regulatory environment in the capital market. Some of the laws and the regulations which are found here, we are busy amending and improving some of them. You need that base. There is no way that you can develop capital markets without the right laws, without the right regulations. Because, capital markets or stock markets, it's not only about money. It's about market confidence. It's about market integrity. It's about the integrity of regulation. People need to have the confidence that they are putting their money in a properly regulated environment and their money is safe. And therefore, if the laws are not there, you find it very difficult to actually build capital markets. And therefore, the foundation, which is really the foundation for me for the first 3 years that I'm not 3 years actually, for the first year which I'm here. You can't do anything without proper regulations. We have put up the laws and then the proper regulation, and we are still continuing to do that. It is then that we can also do some level of business development. The same way when I got here, I'll give you a typical example. We had LinkedIn followers who were less than 400. In the 6 months that I've been here, we have well over 4,000. Because you build the channel in which you can reach people. Also, even in Twitter, also in Facebook, also in...
So information is big for you.
Yes, information is big for me. And all those platforms, you can see them. We have grown them over a very short period of time at very high rates. I mean, to grow from less than 400 to more than 4,000, that's a big information dissemination platform, which you need to do. The market is about information. Stock market is about information. That is why you see advanced markets. People just trade on phones and do that. But we need to reach that level. So we are building the ground and making the building blocks of capital markets. So from regulation, you now get into the business development side. You now get to companies. You now need to showcase some of the listed entities to the will-be investors. You also need to build diversity or a heterogeneous type of investor base. Have local investors, have asset managers, get some international investors. And for you to get some of the international investors, you need to build some of the service providers like your custody banks, like your efficient and effective brokers. And all these things is some of the things that we are doing.
That feels like it's a whole plate, right? And luckily, I want to believe you have, the Rwanda Stock Exchange, which could take some of these things off your plate. You have Kigali International Finance Center, RFL, and the likes, which could take other things off your plate. But looking at your journey, because you've tied yourself down to a very short period of time, 3 years, right?
Yeah.
To make these changes and turn around, that means you're going to be sprinting all the damn time. It's a sprint every morning and every day. 3 years from 2024, right? It's 2027.
Yeah.
What is that one or two things you want to look back at and say, hey, I want to have achieved this by the end of my 3 years?
Yeah. Unfortunately, if you get into a market and there are some regulatory and law things that need to be done, I mean, that needs to be one of your achievements from day one. And that's exactly what you need to be doing. We did for the 6 months that I'm here. I mean, I've never checked out a lot of regulations and laws than I have done anywhere in my life. We have done the CSD law, Central Security Depository law. We got international inputs. The law that is going to go to Parliament very soon for CSD law is actually a law that can be that is acceptable internationally. It conforms to all international standards. I made a very huge impact and input in structuring of the law and also input from the law. We released some corporate governance guidelines, because corporate governance, to be fair and frank to you, for anyone operating in the financial services sector, it's a must. It's a must. People need to put their money in entities that are regulated and governed properly. It's a must. We issued some green, sustainable, and social bonds guidelines, which are well made and are world class. They're actually world class. They're, even some of the investors recently from Europe, they looked at them, they accepted them. A lot of effort have done that, and we've done regulations for collective investment schemes in Rwanda. We have done them. We were in the process of translating them and checking them out. That's what we did. Over and above the corporate governance, even at CMA level, the board charter, the conflict of interest, even the staff, the statute for staff, because you also need to have a very ethical supervisor. You need to have staff which is ethical, who knows their work, and then who behave in a much more ethical way. We did also the statute. We also did close to 15 or 20 internal policies for the organization that we managed to do over a period of time. So the regulation around the market set up the microstructure of the market. When you get the regulation right, then you now get into the business development. The business development involves what? Getting to see whether the bond market is structured properly, which is what we are looking at now. Getting to see the diversity in terms of investor base. We have started to reach out the investor base by actually looking at some of the custodial services presence in Rwanda in order to grow the local custody business. I'm in touch with local banks in order to really grow that, so that you make it easier for foreign investors to actually come in, because you can't develop the market only with local investors. The diversity, even in terms of the companies that are going to be listing. Tomorrow we have a whole set of journalists to Maui Grain Millers, who is one of the companies that actually going to be listing some of that listed a bond. So we're going to be showcasing it, so that we now reach out to potential investors who are willing to come into the market. The green finance, the GSS plus the regulations that we issue opens up an opportunity for issuing of green bonds, sustainable bonds, and social bonds in the market here. And the other very good thing that we have done is to bring together market participants. We work well with the Rwanda Stock Exchange. Our business development teams have actually concerted efforts. And also we work together well with some of the market participants. We have webinars, which I've introduced, very well attended, that we do. But of course, we want to take it further to have guys like you to come and do podcast and that
Pivots and profits.
that can actually come and grow the market. So we have all this integrated strategy to really develop the market. But of course, on the key indicators, the number of investors, local investors, we want them to go up. The number of listed companies, we want them to go up. And this is where all the strategies are looked at. We want to have diversity in the unit trusts that are in Rwanda, because as capital markets, we will not look at the stock exchange. We look at the stock exchange, we look at money markets, we also looked at alternative other investments.
Titi, there's and it's great ambition, right?
Yeah.
But with the way you could be doing things, and I want to take this, even on a personal level, right?
Yeah.
Change is inevitable. That's one.
Yeah.
Two, change for the good is hard.
Yes.
Right, because you have to step on a few toes here and there. You can't keep tiptoeing, and I'm learning that personally as well.
Yeah.
Because I've had a gradual change happening to me, and you notice that if I'm to make the hard decisions,
Yeah.
I can't just keep making the hard decisions in my head or in my office. I need to make the hard decisions even when I'm dealing with human beings and people, right?
Yeah.
And that's telling them things they don't want to hear.
Yeah.
Or telling them we're not moving towards that direction. We have to go towards a different direction.
Yeah.
That tends to bring about pushback,
Yes.
because it's human nature, right?
Yes.
To do the easy thing.
Yes.
And the easy thing is what we are comfortable with, what we are used to on a daily, right?
Yes.
If I wake up every day in the morning and I'm supposed to be at work at 9 a.m. And I've been getting there at 9:30 and no one's telling me nothing, and then take my break at 11:30 and come back at 1. That's what people are used to.
Yeah.
When you bring accountability into place, then you become not a very good friend.
Yeah.
So how has that been like, and how is that experience? But even on a personal level, it could be in your past BSE, right?
Yeah.
How have you dealt with it, and how do you bring about the change that is needed?
Yeah. And unfortunately, I'm somebody who is very liberal and straightforward talker. I'll say unfortunately, because like you mentioned, you step on a few toes, you'll burn a few bridges. I mean, I've done it before, and I'm confident I'll still probably do it again.
Yeah.
But all for the good of the market and for the good of the country, especially when you occupy a position as a regulator. There's no way, it's impossible, unless nothing is happening in the market. There's no way that you can't step on other people's toes. But I'll do it, but I'll do it in a more progressive manner to progress the market.
What gives you this conviction?
Yeah, I mean, just like you mentioned, it's human nature. I mean, some people will agree with you, some people will not agree with you. I've set up with my team a clear path and clear deliverables in terms of, guys, we are here. We need to do the mandate of the CMA. Government need us to deliver, and therefore we need some clear deliverables that are defined, that you need to come to work every day to know what you are coming to do, so that every month or every week you need to be accountable for public money. And that's exactly what we do. You set up the strategy, consultative, either with the ministry or with the staff. After you do that, you demand change. You just have to push in order to get development. You push your staff, you push your parent ministry at Menekufin to say, let's move, let's try to move into that direction. But like you are saying, for us to move forward, there's a lot of constant change and constant evolution that we need to go through, and it's unavoidable.
How does one become a CEO of a Capital Markets Authority? What led you to this place?
Yeah,
And here I want to tap into the 19-year-old Titi, right?
yeah,
Did you envision yourself being one day head of the BSE or CMA? And what was that journey like?
yeah. Look, I grew. I was born in a rural area in Botswana. Uh, just like any other rural area, even in Rwanda here, I went to government schools in Botswana as the start of my education. Of course, I always excelled at school, and I did my primary school and secondary school in my village, and then I went to University of Botswana to do single major in economics. From the University of Botswana, I then went to work for the central bank. I was there for about 5 years or so before I went to pursue my first master's degree, Masters of Commerce degree in financial markets, which actually looked at the whole ecosystem of market, and it also looked at some of the industry courses in South Africa, because it's in South Africa, where I did also quite well, and I went back to the central bank in the financial markets department, and I was there for a few months before I joined the stock exchange in 2007 as a product development manager. The position which I held until I think 2014. Yeah, I think it is about 6 years or so. But then 2012, 2013, I went to do my MBA at UCT.
Okay, another master's.
Yeah, another master.
The Rhodes one wasn't good enough.
Yeah, the roles was much more technical.
Okay.
The MBA gave me a strategy, people's governance, marketing skills, operational skills. So that's how it actually helped me. And I would say the education really fundamentally contributed to who I am. And from there, I got appointed as deputy CEO for 2 years of the stock exchange, and then CEO for 8 years. And
oh, so you were in leadership of BSE for about 10 years.
yeah, I was there for 8 years. It was 8 full years, but my second contract, I had to cut it in order for me to come here. But it was left with about 1 to 2 years, actually, to come here. And then I just wanted to explore some international opportunity. But of course, in any case, I mean, I had contributed significantly to BSE. I was still going to go. If I couldn't have come here, probably I could have gone to London.
Okay.
Yeah,
the weather, especially this time of the year. You made a smart decision.
Oh, yeah, the weather. I mean, here the weather is good.
Yeah. Who is Titi? If someone asks, who is Titi? What are those things that you would like, if you were to control your own narrative and story, for someone to speak about you on, right? Not that you care.
Yeah.
But who is Titi?
Yeah, I'm just a guy from the rural village in Botswana. I mean, that's how I like to describe myself. Very basic, married with kids, of course, but my family is in Botswana. But I like simple things. But one thing for sure.
What is simple?
Yeah, one thing for sure, which I know, is that, for everything that I do, really, I believe in making an impact. Yeah, and that for sure, throughout my life, I've put it as a conviction. I want to come and make an impact. I want to make a difference in everything that I do in my life, and I've managed to do that for many years, and I still want to continue to do that.
There's usually the saying, the other day I was listening to a podcast, right? And it had the Meta CEO, Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
And I remembered that back in the day when he was much younger, he was one of the biggest advocates for young people should be doing A, B, C, D, all the people get out of the way, right?
Yeah.
And now I find him more humble, right? And life happens. And he was speaking on this topic in regards to, I think my views at that time were not the best.
Yeah.
Yes, we were the most innovative, smartest at that age,
Yeah.
but the difference between the Trojan horse of the youth
Yeah.
and the old and tested experience.
Yeah.
Right. So, what is your take on approach-wise, right? As a leader, looking at the Trojan horse of the youth,
Yeah.
which is a wild card, right? Of push, 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 and then the experience of being there, done that, and this is how we should do it.
Yeah.
Of the older people. If you were to choose between the two, where do you think right now you would fall into?
Yeah, I think I'll take up to 70% the push of the youth. Up to 70 to 75%
Why?
of the push of the youth. Because it's very progressive. It actually speed up the delivery of a lot of other things. And even for this country, the same concept that we are talking about applies even for this country. I meet a lot of young people now that I think CMA have started to make a lot of impact on the ground. Whenever I walk, I meet a lot of young people. I chat to them. I can see that the vigor. Some request to come to the office. I let them come to the office to just have a chat in terms of my experiences in life, what impact that the ordinary people in Kigali and Rwanda. I have a lot of wide network of diaspora Rwandan citizen outside, I in Canada, in Belgium, who I chat to many times. They've got a lot of ideas. They want to make an impact, and they comment on a lot of other things that we do. And I think the push of the youth actually is the thing that can actually take progress to another level. But of course, that speed at which they want things sometimes need to be checked by the impact of the slowness of the old people, which I would say it acts as a risk and mitigating mechanism for the push of the youth.
Titi, before we let you go, what's your heaviest unmade decision? Like one you look back at and you're like, if I had done that, things could be different. Or if I had done that, things could have been faster. What is that? We all have one of those.
I can't recall. You mean in terms of here?
Yeah, personal. It could be personal. It could be a decision of going to school. It could be a decision of career. It could be any kind of choice. And you're like, if I made that decision, my life could have turned out differently. It could be for the best, could be for the worst, right?
Yeah.
What is that decision?
It'll be hard. I'm really trying to recall. For me, I think I've had so many blessings.
Okay.
It's so surprising. I mean, I look
Such a political answer, eh?
Yeah,
That's such a
I look back and I think a lot of good things have happened to me.
Okay.
A lot of by God's grace, I would say, I've had so many things going my way, even when I look back and say, wow, did that just really, really, really happen? I mean, but I don't really recall any bad decision that I've made that could have that I still sit down and say I couldn't have done it. I tend to have luck always at the right time. I mean, look, I had good years at the BSE, and only when I'm still looking at even far much good things, then I get caught up here. And even when I'm here, I mean, a lot of people are saying, "We didn't know we are available. We could have asked you to come and join, but should you not settle properly there, we are
No, we're keeping you.
Yeah,
we're keeping you.
Yeah.
Titi,
Yes.
thank you for making the time.
Thank you for inviting me, and it's a pleasure. Looking forward to working with you guys, because you guys are the guys who can actually make a lot of difference, especially in capital markets. We need such guys like you to really reach out and impact that knowledge.
You heard it from the horse's mouth, the CEO of the Capital Markets Authority of Rwanda. Yes, you need to keep it at the K Financial News. That's across all our social media platforms. You can find me at The Real Quizera. You have been watching or listening to another episode of Pivot and Profit, a podcast brought to you by the K Financial and Pace Production. Always feel free to retweet, tweet, or reach out for any of your questions. Have a great day.